Hello, community. So we are back. Yes. Back on track boot camp. And today we're looking at back on track with our mindset. Super exciting. And I get to be here today with you as your host, as your guest, as your everything. So super excited to do that. Let's get to it. Ow! Oh my goodness. Always a pleasure to be in this community. Today's a good one, right? So if you've been wondering, how do I get out of my head and show up for myself and my goals? Today is for you, right? We've been doing a lot of work, in this space with the Back on Track Bootcamp series, and one reoccurring theme, whether we're talking about finances, self-care, self-love, trauma, fitness, it's really all been our mindset. If you've really been listening, you've probably heard that in just about every episode, right? But what does that word even mean, and how can you get yours in shape? Well, we're going to talk about that today. If it's okay with you, of course. And if it is, drop a heart for me right now. Or better yet, girl, go hit like or subscribe, all right, wherever you are. Because that tiny little action, as much as it's like, why should she keep asking me to do that? It gives other people the opportunity to get to this, right? The more you hit like and subscribe, it helps us to reach other amazing women like you. So just go ahead and do your thing and hit that like or subscribe button, or drop a heart for us in the chat. Yes, I see you, Aura. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you guys. The little bit goes a long way, right? So let me introduce myself. My name is Amanda Fludd. I'm a psychotherapist and mindset coach for minority women in business. And I keep the lights on in the mindset and motivation community for women entrepreneurs of color as well. I just really love creating spaces to support the emotional and professional growth of women. And I'm blessed to be able to coach you from this place of fear to courage, right? So you can really achieve your extraordinary goals. And I want to start by defining mindset. So let's start right there. Like, what does that word even mean? It gets thrown around a lot. And mindset is really a set of beliefs that shape how you make sense of the world and yourself. And it's important because it really impacts how you perceive experiences, right? How you feel, how you show up in the world. It's like everything gets filtered through those ideas, right? So how do you know you have a mindset problem? And there are a few ways to know if you're off track. And we're going to get into that. But before I do, I want to remind you guys to grab some paper and a pen, because y'all going to have a lot of questions today, because we're going to do some work. Right? So if you have time, grab some paper, grab some pen, because y'all going to be writing today. All right. So mindset work is so important. And for me, it's like the key to all the work that I do with clients. People usually come to me because they want to figure out how to stop overthinking, how to rethink their practice or get more visible, organize their coaching businesses, things like that, right? It's usually my high performers and my perfectionists. And when they start working with me, they often just want to get right to the strategy, like just like all of us. We just want to get to the good stuff, right? Can we get to the answers? Can we get to 20 pounds lighter? Can we get to, $1 million? Like whatever it is, we all like to get there really fast, but there's usually some things that has to happen before that. And more often than not, the thing that needs to happen is really a change in their beliefs or their mindset, right? To really help them get to that next level, to help them get to where they want. And, how you know that you got a mindset issue, it's like you just kind of hit a wall, right? You hit a wall, and that's how you begin to know that you're off. And this is what it might look like. I think I see this often enough that I could probably just run them off my fingers, right? But let me know what you relate to, what you connect with. It might look like giving up too soon. It might look like second guessing your abilities. It might look like you only focus on all the negatives, right? Or you see your failures as a reflection of your identity as that person, right? So, you try to go do things, it doesn't work out. And it's not that this thing didn't work out because it's like this thing didn't work out because of me. It's like we take it really personal. So those failures become part of who we are, right? That's sometimes a good way to recognize that we've got some mindset stuff happening. On top of that, maybe you convince yourself that you aren't really ready and you don't risk trying because you don't feel like you're ready and because you can't take that blow to your confidence either if you fail, right? So instead you play it safe instead of taking that chance, right? You probably talk yourself out of it, and you're probably really good at talking yourself out of things. You're probably really good at finding all the reasons why I shouldn't do something. And I'm sure the reasons sound really great, but it's probably more of a mindset thing than it is a reason for you not to do the thing, right? So we're really good at talking ourselves out of things. You'd probably rather go back to sleep than work on the thing. You'd probably rather Netflix and chill instead of working on the thing. Or maybe you give up too quickly. Maybe you get defensive really quickly. Maybe you have really crazy high standards, right? And or you recognize your worth, but you just never act. Or worse yet, when you do, but because you're so driven and defined by success, instead of being true to your gifts, maybe you copy and paste someone else's work, and that's how you proceed, right? Because their vision of success looks so good and you want that so much that you decide, like, that's exactly what I'm going to do instead of being true to yourself, right? So if any of that sounds familiar, that lets you know that you're in this space of needing some mindset work, right? So let me know in the comments if any of that is making sense. And maybe it's making sense because, like, this is where I fall sometimes, or maybe it's making sense because, like, you see it in, and maybe in some of the women even around you or some of the people that you work with, right? So if it's making sense, let me know. Drop a yes for me in the comments, right? Because I think a lot of times we just don't realize how we're operating in this space and how often this shows up for us. Or maybe we do realize it, but we don't even know what to do with it. Like, one of the things I really found interesting about this bootcamp series is it really doesn't matter like what you're working on, right? If the story you're telling yourself about your worth and your abilities is faulty, it will hold you hostage in like every part of your life, right? So what do we do with that though? I think we've got to work on it because we've got to build like stronger emotional foundations, right? And your foundation is really about like what you stand on, okay? And this work is really about making sure that what you stand on can support you, right? Because if I stand on something is wrong with me, if I stand on that belief, how can I build on that, right? Or how can I build on the concept of like, I'm not enough? If that's truly what I believe at my core, it's going to be hard for me to really build anything sustainable on that. How can I build on, I don't matter? How can I build on, I can't achieve X, Y, and Z? If that's really what I'm hanging on to, like, you can have all the Black girl magic in the world, honey, but it will not sustain you. All right? Like, is that making sense for you guys? Is that hitting home? Let me know. Because I think it's really awesome that we say that we want all these things and that we've come so far as a people and there's all these opportunities for us as people of color, but that can all be there, but a lot of us still won't go after it and we still won't pursue it because at our core foundation, there's still some work that we have to do before we can really build to that next level that we want, right? So again, if this is making sense, let me know, y'all. Drop a heart, drop a like, drop a follow, drop a something. So I know, because we're really flexing those mindset muscles today and getting you back on track, right? So I hope you're doing okay, sis. I hope like this flexing is working for you today. I know it's resonating deep with me because I think as you continue to grow, you're always going to face these things, right? It's going to come up in some way, shape, or form. And I really think the more you grow, like the sneakier it gets, it's the harder it is to find these funky little spots, right? Or these little weak areas in your foundation, right? So you've got to get really good at noticing it. You've got to get really good at being able to kind of course correct and to really continuously feed yourself, right? Continuously strengthen that foundation. It's almost like if I am building a building, if you go with that metaphor, right? And I'm trying to build to the next level. So I've got 10 floors now, and I want to get to 20 floors, and I want to get to 30 floors. technically I've got to strengthen that foundation so it can handle the load, right? So then technically I've got to keep working on myself. I've got to keep pouring into myself. I've got to keep building myself. So that said, I never really want you to feel bad about growth, because whenever you start to doubt yourself or feel a little bit uncertain, it's actually a good thing, because it means that you're growing, and it means that you're recognizing that the foundation that you have is not sufficient enough for your growth. So as much as I'm growing up, I've got to make sure that I'm pouring back in so that I can support the growth and what it is that I'm adding on top of me, right? Woo! Come on, y'all. Right? If this ain't feeding you, it's feeding me. All right, so growth. Woo! So to grow and to get to more of your authentic, free self, right? That vulnerable self, that self that's just excited and doesn't feel that resistance. We're going to work on that a little bit, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, really a lot of questions. So like I told y'all, you're going to need a pen. This is it. And we're really going to take you from what you want to how to get there. And I'm going to do that in 15 questions. Okay. And you'll probably have to play this back, and that's okay. And I think those of you in the Mindset and Motivation community, I'm going to send this out as the reflection sheet for the start of next month. So as long as you guys are on the mailing list by the first week in October, maybe the second week, we'll do the first week, you'll get an email. And I think I'm just going to have this 15 questions on there. So don't worry about it if you don't get it in this context, but try to catch as much as you can. All right. So let's see. So 15 questions. So the first one, how would you describe your personality in 3 words? So we're going to start with you and who you are, right? And you could drop that in the comments to me if you want, or just jot it down on your paper. How would you describe your personality? Right? It's really bubbly. I'm really outgoing. I personally love to kind of help and serve. That's part of who I am. I'm also a little more quiet on most days. Okay, so that's question 1. 2, what are 2 things that you're really passionate about? Jot that down. Right? So I'm also passionate about helping. And I'm really passionate about seeing that light come alive in women in particular, right? I get excited when like the things start clicking for them and they're like, oh, that's why blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's why I need to da, da, da. Right? I'm really privileged to really kind of bear witness to the healing of a lot of women. So that's always awesome for me to see. So I'm passionate about seeing that in other people. I'm passionate about helping and serving, but what are you passionate about? Put that down. Third one is tell me a few things about your character. Who are you, girl? Right? What makes you you? Are you funny? Are you a leader? Are you spiritual? Are you grounded? You like to talk a lot? You don't like to talk a lot? Like, what makes you you? Write some of that down. All right. So now we're going to switch a little bit into what do you want? So this is your 4th question. I want you to list the past 2 opportunities that opened doors for you, and who facilitated those opportunities. How did you get there, right? So what were the opportunities that really opened up doors for you, and who facilitated those opportunities? Like a huge opportunity for me recently was speaking at the Black Girls Run conference, right? And who facilitated that was really just being a part of the group and them posting this opportunity for speakers and doing that. Surprisingly, right? It was like, yeah, and that really worked out for me, and met some amazing people just doing that, and got to do some other amazing things. So that was an opportunity that opened up a door for me because I was a part of a community too. So think about your opportunities and the doors that it's opened. Question 5, what is it that you really want? And I want you to dig deep, right? And I'm flowing through this only because I've got a time limit, right? But you can always come back to this, hit pause, play it like 10,000 times, all that good stuff. But for now, you can just kind of loosely think about it or just kind of jot it down really quickly. And where you are right now is on what is it that you really want and what is the specific outcome, right? What is it that you want for your business, for your career, for your life? And what is that outcome going to look like? And really think deeply about that. Right? Like, I really want to grow my coaching practice. I know I want to see more products that are just self-sustaining. I know I want to grow my mastermind community and build that. I know I want to speak more, right? So I have some things that I really want to see around that. And it's to really position me to help and serve more women in a larger scale. Like part of the reason why I coach was I really didn't like that I saw people at the end of the road as a therapist, like on the couch. And I really recognize there's a gap in skills, and I want to be able to get more of that out to people. And coaching really allows me to do that in a different capacity, way that I really enjoy. So what is it for you? What's the outcome that you want? And then that shifts us into our next one. In the next year, what opportunities would you like to have open to you? Right? What are some doors that you hope just like, whoo, and it's like, come on in. And that's going to like mean the world to you, right? Write that down. Really write that out. You should write that down and put it up somewhere so you can keep looking at that one every day. We talked about intention as part of this series, like set your intention that that's what you want. I feel like we're writing out our intentions with this too. All right, so that was 6. 7, what is the pain for you if you do not achieve that goal? How much would that hurt? What would that look like? Right? I think for a lot of us, it's a lot of disappointment, a lot of letdown, right? It's really seeing or feeling like maybe reinforcing some of those beliefs that I can't do this, and that feels like a lot, and that doesn't really feel like where you want to be, right? I never want to be in that space, and I don't think failing is ever an option for me because I ain't trying to experience that. I don't mind failing to learn lessons, but in terms of not achieving and not doing and stagnation, that's not for me. All right. Going to shift a little bit into your values with some of our questions. So really thinking about where you want to go, the doors that you want to open, what's going to happen if you don't get there. And as you think about where you want to be and those goals, is this goal in line with your vision for yourself or your overall life plan? And if you're not sure, like think about it from a deep level, a gut level, what's your gut telling you, right? Is this goal aligned with you and your values and how you want to show up in the world? Because maybe it's not, right? Maybe it's a goal that I was following that I thought that I wanted to do, or that just looked good, or again, going back to this place of like following someone else's success. Maybe I was just sort of copy and pasting, but it really doesn't reflect who I am. Maybe it's what I thought I was supposed to be doing, but it just doesn't feel good for me, right? It doesn't feel like a very heart-centered place for me. I notice that a lot too, like in the business realm, there's real like hardcore business people, but they don't always reflect the same service values. I think helpers, healers, we approach things a little bit differently from the heart, right? And that's why I think there's kind of space for both sort of people in this realm, but you've got to know where you land. So you can't really be that heart-centered person, I think, and going after it in like this very aggressive or way that just doesn't reflect who you are. I hope that makes sense. That actually brings us to the next question too. 9, like, is this goal in line with your values, right? So, is it really reflecting who you are and the things that are important to you in your life? Or will this goal help you to achieve more of the things that's important to you? Because then if it doesn't, like, we might have to change the goal, honey, right? Or help it to align more with our values. Because maybe that's why we're not really achieving things too. Like we're going after things that really just doesn't feel good to us, okay? When we talk about going after, sometimes as you chase things, we run into obstacles or roadblocks. And that's going to be our next couple questions. Right, and again, if I'm going fast, no worries, y'all can play this back. All right, but question 10, what might you have to give up or stop doing to achieve the goal? So I see what I want. I'm hoping the doors are going to open up for me. I can't not do this because I don't want to deal with that. Yes, it aligns with, how I operate and the things that are important to me. But now coming back to me or to you or to self, are there things that you've got to give up or stop doing to actually achieve that goal? I want you to think about that a little bit. All right, essentially, like, what's the price of making this change? And are you willing to pay it? Questions to think about, things that make you go, right? And that's a big one, because then that leads us into question 11, like, who will you have to be to achieve this goal? right? So like a big transition for me coming from the service working career world into entrepreneurial life, I had to stop thinking a certain way. I had to stop thinking that I needed to see like 8,000 clients to sustain myself, right? Um, that I don't even know if it's a value, but that value of working hard, doing more to achieve X, right, was easily translated into my space of working for myself and doing the same. But that wasn't sustainable. That didn't feel good. That's what I didn't like in the first place, right? Because it really stopped me from doing great work. And I didn't want to work that way anymore. And that's part of the reason why I left. So I had to stop thinking that way and responding that way and really rethink how I wanted to show up in a way that just felt good for me, that aligned with my values and things like that. So there was things I had to stop thinking and actions I had to stop doing in order to serve in the way that I wanted to, and so that I didn't like burn out too, right? I also had to stop thinking in this like solo mentality, and I had to really reach out for help, even though I had to be strategic with that to help me grow as well, right? So there may be things that you have to shift as well, that you have to look at. 11, who will you have to be to achieve this goal? Do I have to be more assertive? Do I have to be more of a leader? Do I have to be more true and honest with myself? So think about that. Think about what you want and how you're going to get there, but then who do I need to be, right? And then that's going to bring us into 12. Let's take a breath on that one. And once you catch up to who will you have to be to achieve this goal, or I drop 12 on you. 12 anyway. We got 4 more. I know I'm flowing, y'all. Whew, all right. So we got who will you have to be to achieve this goal? Next one. What will you have to think about yourself to become that person? What will I have to think about to become that person, right? So in other words, what's the belief that you'll have to shift? Because we talk a lot about that, right? You know, the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves. So if I've been believing like I can't do something or I'm not good enough, in order for me to be this like confident person going after what she wants, I'm going to have to think differently about this person, right? So I want you to think about that. What will you have to think about in order to become that person? And maybe turn that into a mantra to help you, right? So if it's about your confidence, it's about showing up, turn that into something positive that you say to yourself, right? And I'm also going to step back and say, don't just make it a mantra, but really work on why you think the way that you do, right? Because when we talk about our foundation, sometimes just saying it is not enough. You've got to really do the work so that it really sits in there and it really means something, right? So, but you can start with a mantra. Good place to be. All right. So we've gotten through our values a little bit on who we are, what we think, how that needs to shift, maybe making that into a mantra. Now, the last part, this is our action part now. So now we're going to get moving. And last 2 questions, actually. So 14 questions. So 13, what resources do you already have to help you achieve your goal? So make a list of those things, because sometimes we can't even see all the value that's around us. So that can be things like, who are your support people? Who are maybe even the contacts in your phone already, or the contacts on like social media that may be helpful to you, or going back to those qualities of you. What are your personal qualities or your strengths, right? Or what knowledge do you bring to the table, or what skills, or what like financial resources, or things like your time? List out all your resources that can help you move forward. Because a lot of times we're just really fixed on like that one thing or that negative thing or that thing that we don't have, that we can't see like wider. So step back, girl, and expand your vision and see what else is already within your territory, honey, that you can maximize on, or you can draw from, or you can call and ask for help, or reach out to, or learn from, whatever the case is, to help you get to where you need to go. All right. So once you got that resource list, bam, then I want you to think about, what resources do you need? No, not the resources that you need. I want you to think about, what's going to be my next step, right? So we've covered the resources. So now I want you to go to your next step. So I have made that list, but now that I've made the list, you know, what is it that, what's my next step going to be? Right? So I want you to kind of put some thought to that. What is my next step going to be? Mm, you know what? I'm going to give you 15. So we did what resources do you already have within yourself? And then I want you to make another list of what resources do I need, right? So I have all these great things, but if there's a few gaps to get to where I want to go, what do I need? So slide that in there too. What do I need? And then that last one can be, okay, now what's my next step? Now that I've kind of seen everything, right? So I've seen where I want to go, how I'm going to get there, maybe some of my obstacles. We've started to rethink them a little bit. We're tapping into the resources that we have. We're tapping into how we think, and we're changing that, going back to like that mantra and who you need to become to get there. And maybe even some of the resources you need are resources to help you become that person. And that's okay. Right? Like when I started this, I mentioned to you guys, it wasn't just about, getting to X, Y, and Z. A lot of times it's about the mindset work behind that to get you there, right? So we may have to do some mindset work before you can do some business building, strategic, life-changing work. And that's okay, because it really works well together, okay? So, all right, y'all, we made it. So that was your workout for today. Lord Jesus, I'm tired. I'm tired from explaining it, honey. So, my goodness. So that was a lot, but I hope it's soaking in, okay? And just like a really good workout, sometimes you've got to do it a couple times. Actually, you got to do it a couple times before you get stronger and before you start to see the benefit of doing the workout, right? So yeah, this was great. Okay, I got to go look at it again. I've got to read over my notes, all that good stuff. But then I've got to keep doing this work. I've got to keep reading it over. I've got to keep coming back to what are my next steps. I've got to keep expanding on, who I want to be or what my resources are. Keep working. Okay. Don't just let the today or any other parts of this series just kind of sit on the surface. Keep letting it sink in and get to what you need to achieve the goal that you want. Okay. Cool, child. All right. So as we are wrapping up, tell me your word, right? Let me know the word that's sitting with you. As I wrap this up, for me, it's filled. My cup is like, woo, my cup runneth over, honey. And for me, that's amazing because it lets me know that I am on track with the work that I'm doing. Okay. And if this was really meaningful for you to make sure to follow me on social. So this kind of stuff stays on your feed. I'm on Instagram at Amanda.Fludd. I'm also on Facebook in the Mindset Plus Motivation community. And we're now on YouTube at Courage Over Fear. So find us, follow us, all that good stuff. But of course, again, keep doing the work, right? So back to the work. Oh, and I see some really amazing words. Oh, I see goodies, honey. Yes, and fulfilled and deep. Absolutely. Next month, as we talk about doing the work, our 12-week mastermind intensive kicks off again, the Goal Slayers Mastermind. So if you need clarity on your goals, you need to handle your mindset, and maybe this is a resource that you need to close in your own gaps, or get over those roadblocks, or you just really need accountability and sisterhood, and that's important to you, as it is to me, that's a great space to be in. Actually, this cohort, after this next one here, that would have made a whole year of us doing the mastermind. And it started with me just wanting to help everybody get back on track with their boss goals for the end of the year. This was last year, 2021. I was like, all right, let's do something different. Let's see how this goes. And they loved this so much. They were like, no, this needs to continue. So we've been running 90-day cycles of the mastermind since last year. So this is actually a really special cohort because it's going to run into 1 year of it. So I'm very excited for that. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll drop the links and all that good stuff, but that's a good place to work too. It isn't just coming in and having a community. It's coming in, figuring out your goals, getting clear on that. It's the support of everybody with looking at your goal and your vision. And sometimes we need that space because we can't talk about our goals with everybody in the same way. We try to throw in extra trainings and stuff, like we've done trainings on Canva, and we've looked at everyone's Instagrams and assessed it. We've done Facebook ads on top of all the accountability. So it's really just, it's a dope space. Other than that, that's what's going on with me, and hopefully we can connect in that way. And we always have this community as well. But thank you guys so much for just hanging out and riding with me and being like patient with all these questions and things. Oh my gosh, I will be back in the Mindset and Motivation community to announce the swag bag winner at 9 p.m. We'll get that out there. Let's go pull a name from a hat. So make sure to just scroll back for that. Otherwise, I am Amanda Fludd, your resident mindset coach and business bestie. And cheers to your success. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And you're just going to have to play it back and make sure you get all the questions or the gems, right? Or make sure you're on the newsletter to at least get the reflection sheet at the end of the month. But a pleasure, really a pleasure doing the work on our mindset today. Take care, everybody. See you soon.